The challenge in describing what exactly DeFi is that there's no strict definition and there's no clear lines separating it from CeFi. It's all a gradient. So I'll first give an overview of this decentralization gradient, as it's important to understand there's no such thing in the real world as 100% decentralization. So here we'll focus on getting a basic understanding, and we'll move further into the details as we go through this course and further courses. This can be a contentious topic, and there is room for discussion when it comes to how decentralized a given project or protocol actually is. And there are different aspects of each project that need to be considered. Their governance is the most obvious consideration. Is there one person at the helm, or does one token represent one vote? If it's a governance token and each token is one vote, how are they distributed? Do the team and early investors have a controlling majority? We also need to consider how changes are made. Many projects have governance that appears decentralized, but in order for any changes to happen, the developers have to implement them, thus giving the devs the ultimate control. Another aspect to consider is who represents the project. Was it an anonymous founder who created it and then abandoned it, like the case of Bitcoin? Or is there a widely known founder whose opinion alone can significantly impact the direction, like Ethereum's founder Vitalik Buterin or Cardano's founder Charles Hoskinson? There are many things to consider here, and as far as I'm aware, there isn't a single 100% decentralized protocol. It's important as we look at different DeFi protocols that we think critically about these aspects and point out any issues that we may see. The last key point I want to share on decentralization is that when a decentralized network or organization is attacked, its response is to become more decentralized. When a centralized organization is attacked, its response is often become more centralized. But centralized organizations have central points of failure, which decentralized organizations, networks, or protocols don't have. In a perfect world, anyway. This key differentiation is important to consider because DeFi protocols are attacked regularly, and any central component is a potential vector for failure. If you'd like to learn more about this, I recommend reading The Starfish and the Spider, The Unstoppable Power of Leaderless Organizations by Ori Brofman and Rod A. Beckstrom. It's not a book related to crypto and is actually published before the Bitcoin white paper, but it delves into other decentralized organizations like Wikipedia, Craigslist, Alcoholics Anonymous, and more, and it's well worth the read if you're interested. Now let's move on. To understand what DeFi is, let's first think of a bank. Not today's banks that are corrupt shells of what they should be, but the most basic form of a bank's purpose, storing people's money and lending it out. Take Jane here. Jane has a good amount of savings. She doesn't want to self-custody all of this because the hassle and the risks involved, so she takes it to a bank to store it. The bank takes Jane's money, puts it in a secure vault, and then keeps a real-time record of how much she has deposited. Now, the bank can use her funds and lend them out to other people. This is a valuable service they offer because Jane doesn't want to manage lending her funds out on her own. But as valuable as this lending service is in theory, we all have an idea of what this process looks like today, and it's far from fair or efficient. Now you deposit your funds in the bank, and they'll pay you 0.02% APY on them. Then they'll lend them out at 3 to 30% APY. And the worst part is in some countries, there are already negative interest rates, so you have to pay to deposit your funds. Actually, the worst part is that they can lend without having any deposits at all. Just kidding, the worst part is that all of these services are unavailable to a huge percentage of the global population. Entire countries are excluded from the global financial market. There are also a lot of other drawbacks that you're probably already aware of, so I'll leave it at that. Now what if, instead of Jane depositing her funds into a bank, she deposits them into a pool of other funds, which we'll call a liquidity pool, and then people can just borrow from the pool. In that case, there is no bank taking the majority of the profits. Lenders take their funds, deposit them in a liquidity pool, and borrowers deposit collateral and borrow directly from the pool, and paying whatever interest rates that the market deems fair. The functionality of this liquidity pool and the lending and borrowing mechanisms powered by it is written in code that is open source for anyone to see. It's a program that is transparent and predictable in how it operates. A network of computers runs this program, and anyone in the world with the right skills and an internet connection can contribute to this network. And rather than a corporation taking all of the profits, the majority of the profits go to people depositing funds, the lenders, and a small percentage goes to the people running the network and governing any changes. These liquidity pools are a key component in DeFi, and they are a main source when we measure the total value locked in DeFi. This measurement describes all of the funds currently sitting in smart contracts among DeFi protocols, and I'll refer to it frequently. What I've described is one of the most basic concepts in DeFi. We take the financial products and services from legacy finance sector, we nearly or completely remove the middlemen, the barriers to entry, and other inefficiencies, and what we're left with is an open financial ecosystem without borders, outside of government control, run by code that is transparent, predictable in its outcome, and decentralized in its governance. In short, remove the bank, replace it with code. Now, in order for this kind of decentralized system to work, it needs infrastructure, or a protocol to build on. If every decentralized application, or dApp, had its own blockchain, there would be massive inefficiencies and vulnerabilities and problems with interoperability, so the platform that Ethereum and similar protocols offer is essential here. Ethereum pioneered smart contracts, which enable anyone to write programs that can natively store tokens. That's what smart contracts do. Once we understand that this is possible, the next question is, what else can we do other than borrowing and lending? And the answer is a lot. A lot already, and a lot that has not yet been discovered. We can build DEXs, or decentralized exchanges, so you can trade tokens with other people without creating an account and going through identity verification at a centralized exchange. It also enables you to trade without giving up custody of your funds. DEXs like Uniswap have liquidity pools of many different tokens. So when you want to make a trade, say you're buying the DAI stablecoin with Ethereum, you sign a transaction that moves your ETH from your wallet to the liquidity pool and the DAI from the pool into your wallet. There's no counterparty risk, and you maintain control of your funds at all times. The ETH only leaves your wallet if the DAI also enters your wallet, all in one transaction. Aside from DEXs and lending protocols, we can also create algorithmic stablecoins like DAI that use game theory and collateralization to maintain a one-to-one peg with the US dollar. We can create insurance protocols or synthetic tokens that are pegged to the price of assets like gold, stocks, foreign currencies, even inverted synthetics that rise in value when another asset decreases in value. There's so much that's already been built in DeFi, but so much more that we haven't even discovered yet. We can take these financial tools and combine them to create totally new products. Each protocol is a Lego block, and we can stack them together in many different ways. We can combine DeFi and gaming and open up finance in ways that were never possible before, and include people who would never have been included before. Just in the last year and a half since Amadeo's original DeFi 101 course came out, DeFi has exploded in value, going from about $7.5 billion locked in DeFi protocols in April of 2020 to now, well, why don't you tell me how much is locked in DeFi today? For this task, go to DeFi Pulse from the link below, take a look at the total value locked, and post it in the forum along with your prediction of where you think it'll be by the end of the year, or at the end of the year. Once you've done that, we'll move on to the next lessons where we will discuss the benefits and the drawbacks of DeFi.